Hello, my name is Ethan Iverson. I'm a piano player here in Brooklyn, sitting in the wonderful Soapbox Gallery. And I'm delighted to talk to one of my teachers and mentors, the very great pianist Fred Hersch. Hello, Fred.
Hey, Ethan. Good
to see you. We're talking about an artist in residency you'll be doing at the Leuven Festival.
Exactly, and I had hoped to be there this spring, but unfortunately not. But with luck, I'll be there next spring, and it's going to be a fun thing, 3 nights, what they might call a carte blanche. So I get to invite people that I want to play with. I believe I'm playing 1 solo concert, and then I'll be excited to play with 2 musicians I've never played with, a wonderful Finnish pianist named Aki Rissanen. I've followed his work a bit, and he's super great and interesting. And then the legendary Enrico Rava, who may be one of the more important musicians from Italy, along with people like Stefano Bollani. He's an elder statesman, a trumpet player, composer, and he's still playing wonderfully. And so I'll be playing 2 pianos and also with trumpeter Enrico Rava, and I am really looking forward to it.
I'm sure. Yes, it's a good to do something like talking here today and saying hi to the people at the festival and all this, because of course this has been such a hard year for performing artists. We lost all our gigs.
Right.
But also how wonderful to know that this isn't canceled, that you'll get a chance to do it next year.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked to a couple of heavy horn players you played duo with. I talked to Joshua Redman, I talked to Mark Turner, and there's really nobody heavier than those 2 guys. And they both expressed to me how comfortable they felt rhythmically, you know, while playing with you. Oh. So, you know, it was like, because also everyone's always playing with drums. So it's like, oh God, now there's a gig without drums. What are we going to do? But anyway, that was just, they both independent of each other, independent of me even asking that question. They both said, yeah, it was really easy rhythmically to play duo with Fred.
Wow, that's lovely to hear. In the last 10 years, mostly what I do is solo, duo, and trio. And this instrument, when you put a clarinet next to it, it has 1 sound. And when you put a guitar next to it, it's another combined sound, or a saxophone or a trumpet. And as someone who likes to use the full piano, all 88 notes, it's really fun to play with a great horn player like that, where you can orchestrate and maybe push them a little bit or let them take you somewhere. It's I don't know, I've played duo with 30, 40, 50 musicians, and it's a wonderful format, and I know you have done so as well.
You know, going back to the new record, one of the fans of the new record is the classical pianist Igor Levit, who is in some ways the classical pianist of the moment. He's the quarantine pianist, he's the politically active pianist, and you know, apart from any of that other stuff, he's just a great, great player. But he's one of your big fans, and he makes a point on his socials to talk about your improvised melody, you know, and how much his heart melts as you play an improvised melody. And that's a pretty high compliment.
Yeah.
But I know that you've been doing more with Igor, even composing for him. So let's hear about that a bit.
Yeah, we met at the Village Vanguard when the Village Vanguard was happening, and he said, I'm in town for a couple of days. Do you want to hang out? And he came over to my place in Soho, and we ended up spending like 5 hours together and playing the piano for each other. And he was recording an album on which he wanted to play the Bill Evans Peace Piece, which is really just a very simple ostinato with kind of whatever you want on the top. And he was having some bits of challenge with that, so I kind of gave him some strategies that he might use. And then I sent him some transcriptions of things that I had played. He said, do you have a transcription of that? And then, lo and behold, he started playing them as encores. And then he started playing some original pieces of mine as encores. And recently, this is very strange, the heavy metal band Metallica decided to put together a benefit album benefiting not only the Metallica Foundation, which is education driven, but charities of the various artists' choice. And Igor is actually a Metallica fan, as he's a hip hop fan, which I did not know. He gave me a few tunes. He said, pick one of these and will you arrange it for me? So I listened and I decided to take the power ballad Nothing Else Matters, which is one of their most popular songs, and arrange it for Igor in a way that it would sound pianistic and personal, hopefully not cheesy or tacky. And it was a very fun project. And while I was doing that, I also had this idea, since Igor has recorded the Brahms arrangement of the transcription of the Bach Chaconne, which is a solo violin piece, for left hand alone, and he's also played the Goldberg variations, and he's got a heavy Bach background, and the Diabelli variations. So I decided, well, what would Igor like? And I decided to take a theme of Bach, but create a long piece that would be a set of variations for left hand alone. So I'm in the middle of doing that, which is a kind of interesting, fun challenge. I don't have a deadline, but which is a problem for us, not having deadlines, although I know you're composing sonatas for various instruments on deadline, and it's really lovely to have some things to do at this time.
Well, in quarantine, you take what you can get, for sure.
That is absolutely true.
But not to suggest that writing for Metallica and Igor Levit isn't great. Like that's great. I saw Levit's excellent Beethoven recital at Wigmore Hall. I was just watching it just to watch him play some great Beethoven, and then he encores with your piece Trees. I think was that the name of it.
Yeah.
Which sounded really good, and it's kind of a lot to take on, in a way, be the encore after Beethoven. But it really worked, and he said some lovely things about you to the audience.
Yeah, I saw that concert. It was memorable, and both of us have a foot in the classical music world. And fortunately, I kind of joked in the liner notes to Songs from Home that luckily I don't play the trombone. Nothing bad about trombone players, but they usually need a band or people to play with, and we play this instrument that is supremely self-sufficient, and moreover has 400 years of beautiful music that's been written for it. So we're lucky that we can do solo performances. I've done a lot of streaming performances from my home in Pennsylvania, and that is to say that the piano is satisfying on its own, but not every day I am satisfied playing it.
I'm sure you're looking forward to playing with some other people.
Yeah, I've had a couple opportunities from some streaming gigs at the Village Vanguard, and I did, this past Sunday, I did a live two-piano concert with pianist Dan Tepfer. So he was in Brooklyn, I was in Pennsylvania, 85 miles away. I don't know how many kilometers that is, but it's a long way away.
Yeah.
And we were, through this crazy technology, wearing headphones, we were actually able to play in sync with a few glitches, but pretty much in sync for almost 2 hours, play and talk. And it was just really nice to play with another person, even through the magic of technology.
Maybe I'll just pick up a thread here that combines a few things that we've been talking about. One is improvised melody, playing with other people, and Enrico Rava, who is, I think, a real master of improvised melody. I put him in that Miles Davis, Chet Baker lineage, really.
Yes, absolutely. Chet Baker, of course, Miles is a favorite, but it's great that you mentioned Chet Baker, who sometimes you listen to Chet Baker and you think it's kind of simple, but if you really get under the hood, if you really look at it, the phrasing is really subtle and he's really telling a story. And that's kind of my goal,
Wow.
is to take whatever theme is and try to tell some kind of story. And I think Enrico is a storyteller, and he has a warm and beautiful enough sound that I don't think he has to play a lot of notes.
Right.
If you think,
Yeah, there's sort of one trumpet tradition is fast and loud.
right,
But that's just really beautiful.
right. We have the Woody Shaws
Yeah.
and the Freddie Hubbards
Right.
and all that.
Maynard
Yes.
Ferguson, if you need to go
Right,
there, all
right.
of that. But Enrico is in this a little bit of this other line,
Right.
which is about a pretty sound and taking some time.
Yeah, I was privileged to play with Kenny Wheeler.
Right.
He's another one with
Yeah.
just a beautiful sound and amazing phrasing, and also one of the best composers in our jazz world.
I mean, maybe for the people at the festival, if this isn't too intimate a question, how will you prepare for your first meeting with Enrico?
I think what we'll probably do is over the next X number of months, we'll just go back and forth. Maybe I'll ask him, is there a list of jazz tunes or standards that you'd like to play? And see what he says, and ask him if he's open to playing any of my original material, and of course request that he send some original material to me. These kind of encounters, if you will, we're only looking at about 7, 8, 9 pieces, maybe 10 at the most. So it hopefully will be some original music, some things that we don't have to look at, which is, I think, very important the first time you play with someone, not to be reading a lot of music. I want to just kind of say, okay, here's something we both know and love, let's take a walk with it, because it gives you more of an idea of the real personality of the artist. If everybody is glued to the paper for the whole set, it's a different experience than just playing things you know and both love.
You know, it might be a surprise to some people who aren't professionals that like a duo concert with a good partner with you and someone who's a professional like Enrico, the amount of preparation that day might only be 20 minutes.
Right. Yeah, I've done them where we met backstage, and I'll say, okay, well, what do you feel like playing? Name some stuff, and then I'll say, well, do you know that? And what key do you do that in? And sometimes even on the stage, I'll say, let's play that. I think I'll start it off. Or would you like to start it? Or sometimes you have, especially with two pianists, and I've done a lot of that, you have very simple formulas. Like if we were playing two pianos, I'd say, well, maybe if you play the melody at the beginning, I'll play the melody at the end. Alternate who goes first and second.
You don't even need to rehearse it.
No.
You can just say it in a couple of sentences.
Right. You say it in a couple of sentences. And the beauty of jazz music, it is the international improvising language that we have. There are things that are odd and maybe not perfect about chord symbol notation, and certain things like that can be very non-standardized, but when you're playing with somebody with the experience of a Enrico Rava or a Mark Turner or all the other wonderful players I play with, you can certainly throw a set together with some scribbles backstage and a couple of things that you say to each other right before you begin the tune. Yeah. And then there are also some people that really want to play prepared music. They want to rehearse. The great tenor player Donnie McCaslin, who I played duo with, he said, "Send me your hardest tunes." and I've also had the privilege.
That's so nice to hear, actually.
Yeah, and I've also had the privilege over the last few years to play a number of duo concerts with the great alto player Miguel Zenon, and he always memorizes everything.
Wow.
So yeah, my tunes, anything. He just, it's part of his ritual to memorize everything, not to have any music in front of him. Mm-hmm. But other people, they want to look. So it just varies, and you have to be open to different approaches.
Yeah, well, it is one of the delights of jazz, I would say, is that how much of it gets decided literally in the moment you start playing.
Yeah, spontaneously composing in real time theme and variations. That's basically what we're doing.
Well, Fred, it's great talking to you today, and I know it'll be a great concert next year. Any words for the eager audience out there that they wish they could hear you this year, but they'll have to wait a little longer?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're going to hear me for at least the next little bit, it's probably going to be on your television or computer screen. Next week will be 1 year since I played in front of a live audience, which is kind of crazy. But hopefully I'll be back in Europe and in Belgium next year. I believe I have played at the Leuven Festival. I seem to have played every festival and town in Belgium over the years. I know I've been to Leuven, for sure, to the university there. So I look forward to not only playing for you, but to playing with Aki and Enrico. And let's all hope that happens and stay safe and as happy as we can be in the meantime. Thank you, Ethan.
Great, Fred. Thank you.